Good morning, you're welcome to the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Brille Paulson. How are you doing this morning? It's Friday the 27th of June 2025. In fact, the last Friday in June. Before you know it, we'll be moving over to the second half of the year. On today's breakfast, we'll be looking at several hot topics, one of which is Tinubu signs 4 tax bills into law. Much later in the show, we'll be discussing the fact that import policy now hurts local lubricant production. We'll also be taking the global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. But first, let's see our quote of the day. And our quote of the day says, when you have confidence, you can have a lot of fun. And when you have fun, you can do amazing things. And that is according to Joe Namath. He was an American football quarterback. And he says this morning, when you have confidence, you can have a lot of fun. And when you have a lot of fun, you can do amazing things. This just means whatever you're passionate about, that's what you should be looking at doing. So imagine if you're passionate about football. Of course, you can now be a footballer and make more money from that. If you're passionate about tech, the same goes for that. So whatever you want to do, make sure that you're having fun. Make sure you're confident about it. You're passionate about it. And that way, you don't even feel like you're being stressed to do that job. A lot of times people take jobs, and I know that, for a country like Nigeria, you just have to put food on your table one way or another, and sometimes you just have to do jobs that you're not even happy about, you don't really love, but then just because it puts food on your table, foots the bill, and then you're like, let me just take this. But I think even if you're there, it's just thinking of, what do I really like to do? What am I passionate about? What job would I do that I know that I love so much? And it wouldn't seem like it's stress to me, it wouldn't seem bothersome, it wouldn't seem like such a hassle. That's what you should be doing. So when you have confidence in something, you can definitely be having a lot of fun. And when you're having a lot of fun, you can do amazing things. You start to think better. You start to think of creative ideas, amazing things. So that's what you should be looking at today. All right? Okay, that's it for our quote of the day. We'll move over to our top trending stories. And this first one says, Tinubu vetoes Ndlea bill over crime funds. President Bola Tinubu has declined to sign the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Bill, Ndlea 2025, after it was approved by both chambers of the National Assembly. He cited Section 558, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution, explaining that contentious cause would let the Ndlea retain a portion of proceeds from drug-related crimes, contradicting existing financial rules. Under the current law, all seized assets must be paid into the confiscated and forfeited properties account, with any distribution requiring presidential consent and approval by the Federal Executive Council and National Assembly. Tinubu argued this system ensures proper oversight and accountability and saw no need to amend it. This marks another instance this week where the president has withheld assent to legislative proposals. Earlier, he rejected the amendments to the National Assembly Library Trust Fund bill over funding policy and conflict. Well, confiscated asset funds obviously should go into, I'm sure a lot of people have concerns about that. One of the things that has been said is the fact that, the Ndlea might not have as much funds as they need, and, a portion of that should always just stay there. But if we're talking about transparency, and I think that's where the president is coming from. He's talking about financial discipline, and if we really want that, it makes sense, to be honest. So I don't really know where everybody stand with this, because a lot of people are for, a lot of people are against, especially when it comes to crime funds. And you just wonder, sometimes I wonder, what do they do with those funds? Where does it go to? Do they now, inject it back into the system? Is it for development and whatnot? Because these are monies that really cannot be accounted for in a way. But if we're saying that the president obviously has declined to sign this bill and it's for financial discipline, I want to believe he knows what he's doing. I want to believe that there are certain financial procedures that cannot be eroded, and it's just important that we look at that. And for this, people who are against it say this can lead to misuse, this can lead to reduced transparency, no accountability and whatnot, because that way the NDLEA is just holding back the money, and in a way it's almost like they might even want these crimes to happen, want people to have these illicit drugs coming so they can catch them and they can have more money to keep for themselves. But with this, it's almost like, well, I don't really have any money that's coming in for me, so if I'm doing my job, I'm doing my job because that is what I'm supposed to be doing, not because I have this money that's coming to me. But for some people, it's like it's going to reduce staff morale, because they want to see a situation whereby I have that motivation to want to do my job because I know that I'm still going to get something out of it. So it's a lot, when you're thinking about the autonomy of these crime funds and where it should go to and whatnot. But I want to believe the president knows what he's doing, and if he's decided not to sign this bill, well, to each their own. And we'll just see what happens here. If it's definitely going to help us with transparency and accountability, I guess why not? All right, Unido partners with Lagos to fight cholera outbreaks. That's another story we're taking this morning. And the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Unido, has joined forces with the Lagos state government to combat cholera in Lagos state. Well, in flood-prone communities, with funding from the Japanese government, the initiative focuses on raising awareness and providing funds from training for food and water vendors, waste workers, and students. The campaign aims to prevent the spread of cholera through improved hygiene practices and safer water handling in vulnerable areas. Seminars are held in Ikorodu, involved local officials, health experts, and secondary school students. These sessions emphasize the use of clean containers, proper sanitation, and effective water treatment methods to reduce contamination risk during floods. These efforts are crucial as Lagos frequently faces waterborne diseases outbreak due to flooding. In addition to awareness campaigns, the Lagos state government has intensified cholera surveillance, sanitation activities, and access to free treatment. With over 1,000 cholera cases in Nigeria and 15 deaths recorded in Lagos last year, the collaboration between Unido and the government highlights the importance of empowering at-risk communities to build resilience against future outbreaks. Fantastic. Cholera is something that, we've seen that has killed people, and imagine 15 deaths just last year in Lagos State from cholera. That's quite sad and unfortunate, and I think people definitely need to have more awareness to this. People need to be sensitized for this as well, and I think it's a fantastic partnership between Unido and Lagos State, just letting the people know what they can do, especially when it comes to flood-prone areas. And I think it's something that still needs to be sorted out in Lagos State, because every time it rains, you just see everywhere gets flooded. If you live on the island, you definitely know what I'm speaking about. Just maybe rain for a couple of hours and the entire Lekki is flooded, the entire VI is flooded, even Ikoyi gets flooded as well. And you just wonder, what are they doing with our drainage systems? Why are they not channeling it, into the Atlantic Ocean? Why are they not even freeing it up in the first place? Why do cars have to keep sinking? And nothing is being done year in, year out, because this is not the first time we're speaking about this. It's almost like every year we sing the same song, flood in Lagos State. And it's not even just Lagos State. Obviously, there are other states that are dealing with this as well. But our focus right now is Lagos State. So I think that needs to be sorted out. The fact that Unido is obviously partnering with them when it comes to cholera outbreak fantastic, but the root cause of the matter, the flood, let's see what we can do about that. But I love the fact that this partnership is happening because people need to have more information on this. People need to have more awareness on this. You know, how can they keep themselves safe? You know, what can they do to ensure that they do not fall sick with cholera, which can also lead to death? So that's sanitation, the proper hygiene and whatnot. I love the fact that you're speaking to them, and you know, even going to schools, because these kids obviously can now even go back home and speak to their parents, speak to their friends, speak to everyone and say, oh, this is what we learned today, and we think you can do this, have proper hygiene to ensure that we do not fall sick. And I think another thing, you know, they need to also talk about is immunity. How do you boost up your immune system? So it's not just saying have proper hygiene, which is fantastic. I mean, that's the first step. But how do you boost your immune system to ensure that even if anything happens, your body can fight it away? So, like I said, fantastic partnership with Unido and Lagos State. And we want to see more of this. And I hope it doesn't just stay with Lagos State. It definitely needs to go to other parts of Nigeria. All right, another top trending story says Nigerians rank 6th in US as STEM talent. Nigerian students have been ranked 6th globally for their contributions to STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs in the United States. During the 2023 to 2024 academic year, 2,786 Nigerian students, enrolled in U.S. STEM programs under the Option Practical Training OPT initiative, a pathway allowing international students to gain practical work experience after graduation. This ranking highlights the growing influence of Nigerian talent in global technical fields. And Nigerian students have consistently demonstrated strong academic and research capabilities, making significant strides in technology and innovation. Their enrollment numbers underscore the pivotal role in U.S. research and development sectors. Nigeria's strong presence in STEM education abroad reflects its commitment to fostering global relevance in innovation and technology. These achievements not only enhance Nigeria's reputation, but also position its students as key players in addressing global challenges through technological advancement. Great news, fantastic news. I always love to hear it when I see Nigerians, you know, making great things abroad and, you know, just kind of representing us the right way. And when you hear of Nigerian students doing this, it's just amazing. I mean, they tell you all the time that most of the doctors, most of the tech people we have in the United States are Nigerians. And these are people who have the brains, they have the intellectual capabilities to do all of this. And sometimes they just tell you that it's because, in a way, maybe our own system here thwarts the capabilities that we have, and that's the reason why we don't really flourish as much. But when a person crosses over, maybe you go to Europe, you go to you know, America, we just see them start to flourish. And I love the fact that we can go, you know, to other countries and take up space. We can say, yes, we're Nigerians, we're proud to be Nigerians, and we're smart, we're, you know, intellectually advanced. And imagine all of these students, you know, being recognized for STEM, that is science, technology, you know, engineering and mathematics. That's a lot of work. Your IQ has to be off the roof. And, you know, to see our students do that, it is amazing. So kudos to them. And we just hope that back here, we try as much as possible to give our kids the quality education that they deserve, because we know that definitely they have the brains to match it up. They just need an enabling environment to ensure that they can, you know, push forward and compete with anyone, anywhere in the world. So this just shows us that we can always do it. We're Nigerians, we're unstoppable, we're resilient, and we're smart. Let's not forget that. Very intelligent people. So I hope that the government sees this and, you know, takes it up as a challenge to say, you know what, all of those out-of-school children, especially with the fact that Nigeria has a lot of out-of-school children, we know that they have a lot in them. What are we doing about it? Why is every child not in school? So we hope that the government will take this as a challenge to say, you know what, now we want to make sure that every child has access to quality education, so that when they even get to America or Europe or anywhere, Asia, they can represent us the right way. All right, our final top trending story this morning says the Senate Public Accounts Committee, chaired by Senator Aliyu Wadada, has, issued a 10-day ultimatum to Nnpcl Group CEO Bayo Ojulari. He must answer 11 critical questions regarding major discrepancies in the company's audited books, including over 200 trillion naira in unexplained receivables and undocumented legal and audit fees from 2017 to 2023. The ultimatum, which expires on July 10, follows the committee's rejection of Nnpcl's request for a 2-month extension. The Senate warned that non-compliance would be considered contempt and could lead to using its constitutional oversight powers to enforce accountability. Representatives from the EFCC, NFIU, and DSS and other bodies were present during the session, but the company's external auditors were notably absent. The committee emphasized that transparency and public trust are paramount, and they are prepared to take further action if necessary. Over 200 trillion naira, that's a whole lot of money. And, you just wonder, why is the Nnpcl not as transparent as you would expect it to be? Why are they not accountable? Well, some people will say they're accountable. Right? I mean, that's even the reason why we can get here in the first place. But I don't think accountability stops there. I think accountability, shows everything and say, you know what, I'm also going to be transparent. It goes hand in hand with transparency. I'm going to show you the books. I'm going to show you everything. How can you tell me that, over 200 trillion naira cannot be accounted for? Where did that money go to? And I love the fact that the Senate is staying here, pressing on and saying, we need you to come and answer these questions, critical questions that we need to know. Because these are public funds. These are people's. These are money that's supposed to be for certain people, because, of course, if it ingests back into the system, it would be used for development. It would be used for infrastructure. It would be used for a lot of things. So why is one or a select few people having these monies for themselves? And that is the corruption that we keep talking about. We need to be able to eradicate corruption from Nigeria once and for all. And I hope that, by the time they even have this conversation or these questions are being answered, if for any reason corruption has been found in here, I hope that they use them as scapegoats. Because if we do not start now, when are we going to start? When are we going to start to allow people dance to the tune of their music? Because you obviously beat those drums. You stole those public funds. And if you stole those public funds, then you should go to see the criminal justice system, because that is a crime. Corruption is a crime. And like I said, these are public funds. You cannot use them for your own self. You cannot use them for, frivolities and whatnot. And if we start to do that, if we start to see people, facing the justice system for things like corruption, then it will serve as a deterrent to other people. Because now it has seemed like corruption is a way of life. It's just something that happens. Oh yeah, I just have a connect and I just have to grease the palm of my connect and that's it. It is even said that most times in the Nnpcl, if you're going to have a contract with them, some of these people, some of these directors and whatnot, they will tell you that you need to write a check for them. So before they even give you a contract, you're already giving them money for the contract. So they take bribes to even hand out contracts that you're still going to do the job. What is your profit from that job? It might not even be up to 20 or 30%, but they've taken a huge chunk out of that. So why do you think a lot of times when they're awarding contracts, it sounds so, the money is ridiculous? Because you say, no, this thing can be done for less. Why is it this amount? Because of the amount of people that they have to bribe. So you've seen corruption eaten deep into our system, and now it's a way of life. How can we start to eradicate that? Not even curb it, because if I say curb it, is almost like you're trying to reduce it. Eradicate it entirely. What do? It starts from here. It starts from now. It starts from cases like this. I mean, the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, we saw what happened there. Before you know it, everything was swept under the carpet. And that is just what happens in Nigeria. Something comes up on the news. Before you know it, nobody says anything. A couple of months down the line, it has been forgotten. I just hope that this case would not be the same. It is important that we get to the root of it and we use this. as, you know, an example to other people who are corrupt. And they will know that if you're corrupt, I'm sorry, you will go to jail for it, because that is stealing. It's a criminal offense in Nigeria, and trust me, it's a criminal offense anywhere in the world. So I hope that the Nnpcl will come and answer those questions for their own sake, and when they answer them, you know, it will be to the books. You will see everything. They will be as transparent as possible. But if not, well, you have to dance to the tune of your music. All right, that's it for our top trending stories this morning. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers, so please stay with us.